Hello, captains, and welcome to the 2022 Adult League Spring Season. I'm Susan Broder, your local league coordinator, making a recording of what we went over at the two captains meeting Zoom calls. Our league kicks off today, so we're going to kick this call off so I can get it posted and get you the information in case you missed or want to take a look back. But anyway, oops. So just to give you a quick little background about how this all works, GRETA is the local community tennis association. Here it is our responsibility to oversee the USTA Piedmont Leagues. We do roll up to USTA North Carolina. They are here in Greensboro, which gets a little confusing at times, but they handle things at the state level, which gives them a lot to do. And we handle things at the local. So when it comes to local league questions, things you need help with, I'm your go-to. You can reach me at susan@gretanc.com, and I am here to help. Ultimately, USTA North Carolina rolls up to the southern section, and we are all under the USTA umbrella. At GRETA, we have 5 of us that oversee different areas. We're all part-time independent contractors, except for me. I'm here full-time. So you can see Sue Ellen McCrary. You'll see her name on some emails throughout the league season. She is the local league administrator and helps out with, she completes each schedule for the seasons and runs some reports. We'll handle any grievances that may come up along the way, and you'll be hearing from her as we near the end of the season as well. Stacy oversees our juniors program, so for any of you having youth that are interested in playing or are playing, she oversees all of those programs. Amy Doolin oversees our tri-tennis program, which introduces people to the game and helps us grow our leagues. And Shannon Rowley is our bookkeeper. We are run as a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We have a volunteer board of directors, and our members are listed there for your reference. They're also listed on our webpage on the About Us page. All right, let's get into this captain's role. You've already been seeing these emails. These are key emails. These are communications that are coming from me. They will always have the header, Captain's Bulletin, and they will, in the signature line, say Captain's Bulletin as well. They are need to know information, a must read. I will promise I'll keep them short and sweet, but it is information that I do need to get in front of you. So watch for those emails and please, please, please be sure to read them. You should have received and read your captain's packet for the 2022 spring season. In there is your regulations. Please open it up and read them. They change a bit from year to year. Their access to the friend at court, and which includes the code, a document to refresh our memories on how the Coleman tiebreak procedure is played, the match sites with all the contact information, addresses, phone numbers, how to get a hold of the many sites that we have in our area, some other helpful tips and things that are in that email for you to use. Please, again, take a look at that, scroll down through the whole thing. There's lots of information in there. It really contains most of the questions that I get. So they're there for you to access at your convenience. If you did not receive that email, reach out to me and I will send it to you again so that you have it. It's a good one to save, and you are welcome to forward it on to your team. Okay, almost everything that is in the captain's pack is also posted on the captain's player resources page on GRETA's website. If you go to gretanc.com, click on the drop-down menu for adults, you'll see captain player resources. There is a long list of links in there, including the playoff schedule, the contact list, the regulations are on that page, some helpful videos on how to enter scores, just about everything we can think of. And if there's something you can't find that you'd like to have on there, let me know and we'll get it loaded up. That is a go-to resource to find the answers that you need as well. Okay, so you're the team captain, so now what? For any of you that are brand new, your main responsibility is to read those regulations and be familiar with be familiar with them and make sure your players are as well. Review the captain's pack, visit the captain's corner and take a look at what's out there for you, and begin collecting your player availability if you haven't done so already. So your responsibilities as a team captain are to collect availability for the season, to set the lineups, to print and bring a scorecard to each match, to collect the court fees and turn them into the site prior to the start of the match, to enter the team scores, to work with the other opposing captain when rescheduling due to inclement weather, and to schedule ultimately your team's lineup for each match. So those are, throughout the season, the key things that you'll be doing. You do not have to attend every match, but if you are not going to be there, you must designate someone to be the acting on-site captain. They should be the person to bring in a completed scorecard. Please include first and last names. It is amazing how many teams have many Jennifers or Bobs, and the other team is not going to know the last name. And so that's a big error entry. So if you put first and last name, then we're clear for which player actually played in that match. Okay. The home team in Piedmont Leagues means that you are the team to bring balls. So you can do that however you like. You can either assign players for each court to bring a new can of balls, or you can handle it in any way that you prefer. But if you are listed as the home team, you are scheduled to bring a new can of balls for each court. Before each match, confirm with your players the match site and the time. Remind them to be early. And when all players are there, turn in your lineup along with your court fees, and you will get out on the courts from there. So be sure your players are aware of the 15-minute default rule. They must be at the facility when your court is available to play. If they are not, you have the 15-minute default rule. Please review that rule in your regulations. But basically, if you have a 6 o'clock match at Spencer Love, and you're missing a player, they're on their way, they're going to be late, it is required that they are at the facility on the court ready to receive a ball within 15 minutes of that court being available. You cannot extend that time, and there's no warm up. If they arrive at 14 minutes after 6 and everybody's out on the court warming up, you start the match. Let's see. After the match, write the scores in on the scorecard. Confirm with the other captain that you're in agreement. Either captain can enter the scores. If you have a rain out, you can contact the opposing captain, discuss the team's schedule. You can play the courts individually, which is much easier than trying to get everybody scheduled to play at the same site. So you have both options. You have 14 days from the original match date to complete that match. If you schedule a match for day 13 and it rains again, you only have one more day to get that match. And so I highly recommend you plan to get that match made up as quick as you can. It does not extend and give you another 14 days and another 14 days. Both teams need to agree to go indoors, or the match, or you don't go indoors. And just keep in mind that indoor court fees are $10 if you move the match. Okay, tennis link. So this is the primary tool. You've been in there. I highly recommend getting in here on your laptop, or the app is good and convenient when you're out at the courts, but it just doesn't give you all the information you need as a captain. It's just easier to see it here in Tennis Link. So what I'm going to do is switch screens here and actually show you in Tennis Link so we can cover a couple things. So you obviously are familiar with where to register a team. This is and let's cover finding other captains. So you would scroll down to your teams, click on the team name. It will pop up and you have tabs across here. If you click on the captain's report and scroll down, the name, email address, phone number, for all the captains in your level are listed on this page. It's a helpful page to either take a screenshot, snap a picture on your phone, print it, put it down in your tennis bag. If you're walking up to Latham and the sky opens up and you're not going to get on those courts, you'll have an easy way to get a hold of the other captain and figure out your next plan to get that match played. Your match schedule can be found under the match schedule. And then as we go throughout the season, the summary will be posted to show the standings. So that is where you find that information. We'll back up a page. The match number, when you're looking at your match summary or match schedule, the match ID is located right in the left column. When you scroll over that number, you'll see print blank scorecard. If you'd like to do it that way, you can print that out and use that. That's a great tool because it lists everybody on the team rosters. This is also where you enter the score. You can also enter a score from the app, but which works just fine. Sometimes we do get some errors because it's a little harder to punch that in. But this is your main tool to communicate and see what's going on for the season. So make sure to get familiar with all those tabs. And let's see, we'll go to the next screen. Okay, I showed you where to print a scorecard. I showed you where to click to enter the scores. With an error, that match ID, go in, hover over that match ID in the left column, and it will, so that you'll be able to give me that match number, give me the information that you need corrected, and in the email, please include, I need you to include the other captain so that I know that you're both in agreement, especially if it's a score entry change. I need to know you both agree on the score before I'll make any changes to it. Okay, when entering scores, this is just a little example. There's also a great video out on the USTA website, and it's also posted on our captain's page for how to enter scores. So you always record the score from the winner's perspective. Some things to keep in mind in this one: Jane and Anne won over Sue and Tammy. They went to a third set tiebreak, which would be a 10-point tiebreak, and it gets entered as 1-0. So it would be Jane and Anne won the first set 6-4. They lost the second set 5-7, and then they won the tiebreak 1-0. Okay, and then you just click on the box for which team was the winner, or in this case, circle it so that it's very obvious which team was the winner. When it's a default, as on court 3 here, you enter the players that were available for the match, and then the team that is defaulting remains blank and it gets entered as a default, and Tennis Link will automatically populate it as a 6-0 win. Okay. Majority of matches played and full team defaults. So for every match, you need to play a majority of the courts for that match. So in the case of a 3-court match, 2 of the 3 courts must be played for it to be a valid match. In the 18 and over league, which is 5 courts, 3 of the 5 must be played or it's a full team default. Everybody wants to play their matches. Nobody likes defaulted courts. They've got players that they're trying to qualify and get ready. So please really take a look at your schedules ahead of time and make sure that you have enough players on your roster to fill all the courts for your matches so that we don't end up with any full team defaults or we don't have, we're not defaulting multiple courts for matches. A reminder about match warmups. Whoops. Sorry about that. So right there in the regulations, it's a 5-minute warm-up time period for matches. I need you to be respectful of this regulation. I know it's not a lot of time, but if your team wins and you advance to states, they're gonna be hard and fast on that 5-minute warm-up. if you're the 6 o'clock match playing at some of our larger sites, there's matches coming on at 7:30, and there's nothing worse than being that 7:30 match and you get there and you're waiting till 8 o'clock because the 6 o'clock matches took 15 to 20 minutes to warm up and they're still playing their match. So please be respectful of the teams coming in behind you. You've got 5 minutes to warm up, including serve time. So be ready to go. When you get out on the court, get on the court and start warming up and keep an eye on that time. We've already talked about the 15-minute default rule. So just go over that with your players and remind them to be early and that they absolutely cannot be more than 15 minutes late. Playing indoors, once again, both teams have to agree. You cannot, the home team cannot say we're going to move it indoors or change the site. So both teams have to agree to move a match and play indoors. Inclement weather, if your match is rained out or, we're hoping for a great spring, but if we get some really cold temps and we get frozen clay courts or something, you will get an inclement weather delay on your match and you have 14 days to make up that match. And let's see, we covered score changes. You're not able to do it once a score is entered. Then I'm the only one that can make the changes. So I need the match number, the information of what you need to change, and the other captain. You have 2 weeks to make score entry changes. So no matter if you enter the score, make sure you log in and check the scores so that you know that right after that match, the entry is correct, because after 2 weeks, it will stand. Okay, our facilities. Check with the facility to confirm the court conditions. We cover a big area. So the sun may be shining down at Grandover Resort Courts and up at Lake Jeanette. They just had a downpour pass through. So it can really vary. If there's weather in the area, it's important that you check with that facility close to the match time. So if you've got a 7:30 match or a 6 o'clock match, let's say it's a 6 o'clock match, they're not going to know at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but they're gonna probably have a pretty good indication at 6 o'clock or at 5:30 or 5 o'clock what's going on with their weather. And so just be aware that if their facility is open and they say their courts are playable, your match is on. We've covered the court fees, so be sure and turn it into the facility prior to the start of your match. If you are moving a match to another location, which is fine, we do have players that belong to private clubs, and if they're able to get courts and both teams agree, a big instance of this would be spring break. We did have to schedule some matches during spring break, so take a look at that. Spring break can vary from different school systems, so it's really hard to gauge which week is spring break, but you can go ahead and take a look at that, get with the other captain, and if you both agree to play the match in advance, you can do so. You have to notify the original facility, give them as much notice as possible whenever you're relocating a match. If there's rain in the forecast and you've decided, we both agree we're gonna play the match indoors, then notify the original facility as soon as possible. They have reserved those courts for your match. They will have them ready for your play. And if you don't notify them, then they cannot put other programming on those courts. So it is essential that you let them know if you are not coming. A list of the facilities is in your captain's pack. It's on the captain's page. So there is an email address and a phone number, and also information on the different court fees, because they do vary by site. So be familiar with that document so that you are aware of where you're going and who to get a hold of. So this is kind of the top 10 questions, the things that I get asked throughout the season, every season for the 7 years that I've been doing this. When are the schedules posted? Well, they're up and we start today. Today is March 1st. So It is about at least a 2.5 week process to put that major puzzle together. So we thank you for your patience as we work through the many facilities and many teams and coordinate with facilities for some court access. So we do it as quickly as we can, but we want to make sure it's correct. And so it is a meticulous job. Can I still add a player to my team? Yes, you can add a player to your roster throughout the season. Just be aware of the minimum number of matches should your team qualify to go on to states. Most for the 18s, 40s, and 55s, it is 2 matches. And the playoff matches, if you are in a division with a playoff match does not count towards qualifying to play at states. 65 and over is 1 match to qualify. A default, 1 default does count for both. But you are welcome to add more players. You have a max of up to 15 players on your team roster. Once a player plays a match, they cannot be removed from the team roster. So if someone gets an injury preseason and they don't think they're going to be able to play, I can still take them off. But as soon as they play, then I can't remove them. Tennis Link won't let me remove them. Okay, so we covered how many matches do we need to play? 2 matches for 18s, 40s, and 55s, 1 match for 65s. I entered a score incorrectly. How do I fix it? We've talked about it a couple times. Send me the match number, the information on what needs to be changed, include the other captain, and it's a quick fix. Can one of my players get a refund? Players are eligible for refunds up until your team has played their first match. Once you have played a match, then they are no longer eligible to receive a refund. If you have a player, something's changed, they're not able to play, they need to come off that roster before the start of the season if they would like a refund. Refunds are processed in 1 batch once all teams have started their season, and it comes in the form of a paper check. So that is the refund policy. It takes, when will it come? Once I process all of them, all teams have played their first match really by later in March. Some were kind of in that 2nd, 3rd week for a couple of teams that haven't played till then. So as soon as that happens, I will process them all, and they will probably arrive in April. Oops. Go this way. Okay. Can I remove a player from my team roster? We've covered that as long as they haven't played. How do I get the contact information for another captain? Log into your Tennis Link, click on the team name, click on the captain's report tab. So, and then for the live meeting, we had some questions at this point. But I am always available for questions. You can reach me at susan@gretanc.com. I am happy to help. I check my email 7 days a week when we've got leagues playing. So if you don't hear back from me within a reasonable amount of time, something may have gone wrong and it didn't hit my inbox or something. Or I get a lot of emails when we're in the heat of the league season. So I want to make sure and get you your answers. So don't just shoot me another one if you haven't heard from me, because I want to be here to help you out. So thank you very much. On behalf of Sue Ellen and I, we thank you for captaining a team. We know it's a big job. We appreciate everything that you do. We're here to support you so that you and your team can have a great season. So have a great, healthy, and fun spring season, and go Piedmont.